So I know I've said this a few times, but Josh and I were both sportscasters at one point. So it's a blessing and a curse. We notice some things that people say on the air. And I have an expression right now that's annoyingly overused in sports. And it's the atmosphere is electric. Crowd was electric all during the Olympics. Everybody must have said something was electric. Lamar Jackson had 2 electric drives. This show will not be electric, but it will be great. Let's head to the back nine.
This is the back nine with Dennis Williams and Josh Mora.
You got any of those, Josh? You got any of those expressions that are annoyingly overused? Nothing. Electric doesn't even make any sense.
It is what it is. I'm not saying that to you. I'm saying that is something that annoys me.
Yeah.
That is so overused.
Everything Chris Collinsworth says about Patrick Mahomes is annoying.
Oh, well, and a lot of people don't like Chris Collinsworth. I don't mind him at all. I think actually he's usually insightful. But man, the first player he doesn't like, the next player he doesn't like will be the first player he doesn't like.
Right. It's sort of like Madden used to be with Brett Favre. If you want to go to the little front nine action, Madden used to just drool over Brett Favre. Remember?
Listen, as a Chicago Bears fan,
say that
30 years of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers and us having horrific quarterbacking. I like our guy now. The team isn't great yet. They've got a long way to go, but I believe in the quarterback. Let's not talk about football here.
Okay. Well, I do have to talk about a sports story. And
okay.
This is making the turn, by the way. This is our preview of Season 5.
Season 5.
Yes.
Right? So excited to be on Season 5.
Something happened during Season 4, and I just want to talk. This is what we would have done if I had picked up the phone and called you, and the reason we sort of created this was for Josh and I to bounce things off each other that were bothering us, and then we were like, this could help other people. Yeah. So here's one thing that has really hit me. I don't know if all of our listeners know the story about Johnny Gaudreau and his brother, the 31-year-old, and his brother Matthew, riding bicycles in their hometown the day before their sister's wedding, and they get blasted by a drunk driver, and they both are dead like that. And I don't know what it is. I mean, we hear stories, tragedies all the time, and they are in our news every day, and we kind of become numb to them. This one has been with me, sat with me, particularly the first several weeks after it happened, where there wasn't a day that went by that I didn't think about it. I had a couple dreams. I would daydream about it. I don't know what it was. I really don't. I mean, it's a gut-wrenching story, but again, these things do happen, and I didn't know them. I just, even talking about it makes me like so sad and so, it's indescribable to me. And I was even consuming the content to the point where I was like listening to the speeches at the funeral, and yeah, I just can't explain it. It's devastated me. I don't know.
The first time you shared how you have felt about this was just a few minutes ago, before we started doing the show. And Johnny Gaudreau, for our audience who doesn't know, was a forward for the Columbus Blue Jackets, had previously played for the Calgary Flames, a very, very good hockey player. His brother had also played in college, but had not really played in the National Hockey League. And again, they are killed on the eve of their sister's wedding, and they both leave behind young families. When you first asked me about this, I don't know the answer to why this has hit you. Certain things hit us positively and yet negatively and register with us emotionally in ways that we can't comprehend or don't ever fully understand. The only thing I can think of is, as I think about the situation that he was in, the idea of starting a young family. He's got leaving behind little kids and a young wife on the eve of something that was supposed to be so happy. And from the reaction, I didn't know him either, but from the reaction around the rest of the National Hockey League and around sports, just praising who he was as a person and how much people enjoyed his presence as a teammate, as a competitor. And so the only thing I can think of is, here's a guy who has done everything right in his life and is gone in a flash in a way that nobody can predict. Went out for a bike ride. with his brother.
Yeah.
And so the only thing I can think of is to remind our audience and to remind you, we're not guaranteed tomorrow.
That's exactly what it is for me. It's that, and I think I'll take that just a tiny step further, and that is, I think of all the things that I did in my sportscasting career, and we started with that we were sportscasters, okay? And I'm not bringing it up because of that. Of all the things that I have the greatest memories of was covering the National Hockey League, was going, and at the time, we were in our 20s and 30s, right? So we were, and he was 31. So we were he was right in the age of the guys that we were friends with, and I mean friends with. We were friends with those guys. And I think because I lived in that hockey world, wasn't good enough to play. I always say I wasn't good enough to play professional hockey, but I was good enough to cover it. And for a long time. And I think it's that I feel connected to that world in a way that maybe the average person doesn't, and it hit me harder. And that is the exact lesson I'm taking away. I think that is the most important thing. And the reason I want to bring it up, it's not a back nine thing. It's not a front nine thing. It's a life thing, is tomorrow's not promised.
Yeah. And it comes at a time for you, as you're on the brink of getting married again, which will happen here in season 5, right? Which is a great thing as we turn the page on that. And so the idea of all the investment that you've done in your life to turn around things, and your resilience personally, professionally, spiritually, emotionally, you don't want that to go for naught, right? I mean, you don't want something to happen right before, and it won't for you, but that upends all of those things. And you've had your own health scares and your own brushes with understanding your own mortality. We talked about that a lot in season 4. And as we flip the page to season 5, I think that's a reminder for our audience. I know that I want to lean in. We have such a great array of guests coming up this season, and I really want to lean into the time that we get to spend with them, as well as the wisdom and the experiences that they're going to share with us. We'll be right back.
Friends, over the last few seasons, we've introduced you to our friend Pete, or more to the point, our friends at Pete. Pete is the present and future of corporate training. It's a proprietary platform that allows mid-sized companies to build relevant, contemporary training programs quickly, efficiently, and inexpensively. With Pete's AI-powered platform, you'll get customized, interactive, threaded curriculum built in a fraction of the time at a fraction of the cost. Whether it's compliance, leadership, sales strategies, technical skills, employee onboarding, or anything your company needs for its ongoing training and culture demands, Pete designs and delivers exactly what you are looking for: fast, efficient, and effective. With Pete, you can focus on what matters most: developing your employees and growing your business. Pete, corporate training reimagined. Visit Pete.com, that's PETE.com, to learn more and get started today.
All right, back to the show.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think I'm looking forward to really focusing on that. And I think this is also a lesson that you and I just talk through that. I mean, the reason I wanted to bring it up on this show is because you can keep all that stuff in. And I needed to kind of explore why that was bothering me so much. And I had done it a little bit with you outside the show, but I really wanted to bring it to the show, not just because of this case, but if there's something like this that affects you, talk about it, because it's made me kind of process it better by talking it through with you, with my daughter's boyfriend and her father when we talked about it on St. John a little while back. So it's just when it first happened. So it's just one of those things. I think it was important. And this is what we do with this show. But let's preview the season coming up.
Yeah. Well, there's so much that is in that theme. For the first time, for example, in this season, we're going to talk about diet. We've talked a lot about wellness. We've talked a lot about spiritual wellness and energy. We've talked about physical fitness and working out. And we're going to address the role that diet plays for the first time, which I think is really exciting as a resource. And we're going to explore all kinds of other aspects of therapy, and which I think is really exciting too, because we have talked to therapists, but we haven't talked about the process of therapy yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's great stuff there. I think the diet thing is really important. You and I have really embraced that. I've embraced that for a variety of reasons, including my health scares and things that are ongoing with me. But the other thing is, we always talk about practicality. We've got some practical resources this season that will be terrific on pivoting during your career, things that you need to think about both on the front nine and the back nine. I think what I want to say about this season is that I think that it's going to be more open-ended for all ages and both sexes. I think you can learn a lot of things if you're on the front nine from people who are going to supply you with wisdom of things that they learned during their 20s, 30s, when they were younger, and that you can take into your life practically, or as a parent of millennials and Gen Zers, that you can say to your kids, here's some practical uses for your kids as they embark on their careers and so forth. So I think that these are the things that we're bringing to the table in season 5. Not saying we haven't before, but I think it's significant that we're bringing more to the table in season 5.
Yeah, I think our conversations and our questions will be even more focused, knowing who those specific people are. We're also going to do something fun for the first time. We've done a lot of fun things, but this is something we're doing for the first time that's also fun. Get this, audience. Later in the season, Dennis and I are each going to bring in a guest that the other person doesn't know who it is until we make the introduction. You in the audience will know because before it airs, you'll see the synopsis. But there's going to be a fun moment of reveal, maybe when we each try to kind of guess who the other person has brought in, and then the ability to have the interview. And of course, if you're thinking about this, well, how are they going to do that? What if they don't know? Well, it's either got to be somebody that we both know already, and that you know that I know, or I know that you know, or it's got to be somebody that is a big enough celebrity or star that you'll be able to ask, or I will be able to ask questions pretty automatically. I don't know if you've booked your guest yet. I have. And all I can say is I am so excited about who this person is. I believe this person will be the biggest celebrity that we have had on this show to date.
Wow. So I have to try to top that. I've got a couple.
No, you don't have to top it.
No, I do.
No, you don't. There's no topic. It's not a competition.
Have you met me?
This is true. Yeah, we talk about this often. But you don't have to. Just a guest that's going to bring in a good.
I don't know. I agree. I will be focused on not beating you and getting a bigger celebrity. But I will be focused on finding somebody that will fit the show.
Yes. And
that will surprise you. And I love this. I mean, one of our favorite podcasts is Smartlist. So we're ripping off this idea from them.
Ripping off?
Well, borrowing it. Borrowing's a better word.
Appropriating. Yes.
Borrowing it from Smartlist. But yeah, I think it's a good opportunity for us to do something different. Maybe it's something we do an episode every season. Who knows? We'll figure it out. But
see how well it works. We think it's going to work. We like the idea.
Janine's got some role in this to keep it a surprise.
Yes.
We've got a little work behind that, but we'll figure it all out. But yeah, I think it's exciting. Did we miss anything, or what else do we have to preview from this upcoming season?
Well, it's going to be, when we get to the end of it, it will mark 1 year. It will be our anniversary. And
we are putting together plans for a very, very special anniversary show. That I will say.
We think it'll be the 19th hole for season 5.
It will be the 19th hole.
It will be the 19th hole.
Just, yep.
We think that's the intention anyway. Yeah. And I think when we started plotting this out seriously in the summer of 2023, I'm not sure that we had the temerity to think that we could do this consistently without missing a week, find the ability to commit to this. We believed in this. But what's made it happen, I think, are 3 things. One, how much enjoyment we're getting out of it and what we're learning, right? Our own curiosity. So there's something a little bit selfish in that. Number 2, actually, there's 4. Number 2, the commitment of our guests, the people who come on the show, understand what we're doing, and want to contribute to that. Number 3, the production staff, Janine, Olivia, Tom, others, who have helped support this and are equally important in the production and development of this show. And 4th, you, our audience, who have given us great feedback, enthusiasm, some critiques, which I think have been warranted and helpful, that have helped us develop this, and the enthusiasm and encouragement for us to keep going and reflecting back to us that this is landing for so many of you. And to me, that's the greatest joy of all of it.
I agree. I never thought we would be able to have the kind of consistency that we've had. I was optimistic that we would be able to stay with it. But you deserve a lot of credit. I should say that you make a lot of effort to come to Delray Beach at least once a month and record these episodes in person. We recognized early on we were not going to be able to do this. The way Josh and I are old school kind of broadcasters, we were not going to be able to do this on Zoom.
But we connect better.
So that we connect better in person. It's just a better feeling. Our friendship has grown because of it in the last year because we get to spend so much time together. We share as much off air as we do on air to good, bad, your job changes, my health things, all of it. We share all of it throughout the year, and that's made this show better. But I also want to thank the audience. And I think what I would like to ask our audience to do as they listen to this is please share this, because we have not gone out and actively spent any money on advertising yet. It's been all organic growth, and it's been beautiful.
And it's grown.
It's been beautiful growth, and we love it. We know we can't get to the next level without investing real money in advertising, because the number of people that actually know that this show exists is infinitesimal to the amount of people that it could help and to the amount of people that could know about it, that listen to podcasts, that could enjoy it. So I guess my ask is, if you're willing, is please share this. Like, share, follow. You hear that all the time, but it really, really would mean a lot to us. And we also recognize, I think this is very, very important, because I think this is true. I've become a more I would say I'm a podcast listener, okay? I think this is really important. If I'm following a podcast, not every episode is for me. It doesn't matter what podcast I'm listening to. I'm not listening to every episode. We recognize that. Maybe my dad is. And your mom is.
The Spanish teacher.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Okay, they're listening to every episode. But truth be told, and our producers are, because they have to. But truth be told, it's one of those things where we recognize that. So just know that if you're sharing this, you're sharing, if one episode connects with that person, that's great. We don't expect every episode to connect with every person. And that's what I think is going to be amazing about season 5. And maybe this puts a button on it, is I think there's going to be more eclectic, different types of episodes that target certain people. But if it only targets a small part of our current audience, it's not really hitting the mark. It's got to target that audience on a scale, like across the country, across the world. If that makes sense.
I would just add, I hope our audience is getting as much joy out of it, half as much joy out of it as I have. And spending the time with you and spending the time with Janine here in studio and getting to discuss the topics. I've grown a lot. I hope all of our audience has as well, or even a little. And I just look forward to the rest of this season that's coming, because it's really an exciting season. And so we hope you'll listen and tune in and join us on a regular, or as Dennis says, a semi-regular basis.
Yes.
Coming up.
Grateful for all of
you.
Thank you.
So thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again soon on The Back Nine.
Hi, I'm Kevin Zurich with Three Bridges Consulting. If your company is considering podcast advertising, consider Three Bridges your go-to partner. We specialize in connecting your brand with the perfect podcast and podcast hosts to reach a highly targeted audience. Podcasts really provide a unique opportunity to speak directly to your core consumer in a very engaging and intimate format. If you know who your audience is, we will find them and ensure your story resonates. So give us a call today to discover how podcast advertising can enhance your overall media strategy. Our number, 760-590-7634. Again, 760-590-7634. We look forward to hearing from you.
The Back Nine is flawlessly constructed by Janine Stella and recorded at Pixelworks Studios in Delray Beach, Florida.